We do beg your pardon, but we are in your garden. Well, good morning. Codger Biker here. Look at me, I'm on a road trip. Taking it steady. I'm on a heavy bike, got luggage on it and a full tank of fuel. So it got me thinking about a video that I saw from Campbell's 01 recently, and that was about keeping yourself fit for later life. Totally agree with everything he said. I am in later life, and I'm riding a 225 kilogram bike with another 20, probably 10 kilograms of luggage, myself, full tank of fuel, as I say, going down the motorway. And I haven't done a road trip for 18 months because I had a spine injury which set me back quite a lot. What I learned from that was, if you lose your mobility as you're older, it's very, very, very difficult to get it back. It took me 6 months for the injury to heal, and then another 6 months of physio to get all my mobility back to more or less what it was. Still a bit achy, but I'd say 95%. But I've always kept myself fit, or I thought I did. I've no medical expertise whatsoever, so don't be taking this as gospel. I do have a level 2 professional coaching qualification in cricket, of all things. Don't ask, just the journey through life. So anyway, I was thinking as I was riding along, I've got 5 L's, L's for Lima, that I think are useful as you're getting older. Probably at any time in your life, but you know, you have to adjust it for your age. So here they are. My first L, the most important probably, maybe not, I don't know, is legs. Now when you're on a bike like this, I've had to stop a lot of times coming through the traffic this morning. You have to take the weight of the bike, there's potholes, you know, you need strong legs. And also your legs are probably the biggest muscles in your body. Don't quote me on that, I think they are. So I think strong legs are a prerequisite for riding motorbikes, but they're also a prerequisite for staying healthy in later life. So however you do it, I think it's important to make sure you keep them strong. The way I do it is as follows. I used to walk every day. For the last sort of 10 years I've walked every day, a couple of miles a day. Not any particular focus, and it gave me a sort of lower level fitness. I wasn't particularly benefiting from it, I don't think. Obviously a lot better than if I hadn't bothered. But I noticed I was getting a bit of a pot belly. Just took that to be natural signs of getting older. Until I saw a thing about Japanese walking and Japanese jogging. And since I've changed to that, which is basically interval training, I have to say my legs feel twice as strong, I feel a lot fitter, and I've lost half a stone. Although that could be related to something that I'll mention later on. And the only half a stone I've lost is off my prototype pot belly. That's gone, which I'm really pleased with because I hated it. I'm back to my target weight, which is 70 kilograms. Starkers, post ablutions. To be honest, about 70.1, 11 stone, super welterweight if I was training. So I've never been particularly heavy, but I was half a stone more than that, and it was mainly on my stomach, so that's gone. So the way the way interval walking works is you set off walking at 40%, which is just a normal sort of steady stroll for the first 3 minutes, and that acts as a warm-up anyway. So that's 3 minutes. And I've worked it out, that for me is 350 paces. I've set out a course to various lampposts and things so I know where to go. But if I'm on a different place or I'm in a different area, you can either time it to 3 minutes or I just count the paces, 350. After 3 minutes you change to 70% walking pace. which doesn't look much different, but you do feel the difference. And you maintain that for 3 minutes, so you do 70%, not 100%. And then you revert back to 40% for the next 3 minutes, then back to 70% for the next 3 minutes, and you repeat that 5 times each. So in the end you've done 30 minutes of steady and faster walking. And for me at my age that has made a tremendous difference. It's kind of focused it more, my legs feel stronger, I actually feel more tired when I get in, which is good. I tend to get a bit of a sweat on, particularly this time of the year. And I think it's all to do with that, just taking yourself to a little bit further to the edge for a while, and then relaxing, then going back to the edge for a while, which is the theme of this Codger training that I do. So walking is the number one thing. I also do various other things, like I go up and down the stairs. I never walk, I run. I do leg strength exercises on the stairs, just basic stuff. However you do it, doesn't really matter. Cycling you could do. I also sometimes, if I'm feeling especially fit, do slow jogging in the faster sections instead of walking fast. And the good thing about it is, doesn't matter what fitness level you're at, if you can only manage one lot of 3 minutes of a stroll to begin with, just do that. Then add a faster bit later on when you're up to it. Gradually you can build up to the full 30 minutes, which in my case is just over 2 miles. Unless I'm jogging, then it's more like 3 miles. And all that's just to keep the circulation of your body going, get those big muscles moving and keep your legs strong. And it's probably the most beneficial thing I've done, change. I was already walking, but just to change it to interval walking, 3x3 walking for 30 minutes, I really do feel so much better for it. It's good for your mental health as well. Get out of the house. I go out every morning, I get up, I sometimes have breakfast, I sometimes don't bother, and I just go. I don't give myself any excuse, doesn't matter what the weather is. I've got the right clothing for any weather, shorts or waterproofs, matters not, I go. If you keep your legs strong, you keep your heart strong. I'm convinced of that. I think there's a lot of evidence on that. As I say, I'm not a doctor, but I think that's true. My second Codger Biker fitness method is L for lifts. You need to lift things when you get older, particularly if you've got a sedentary lifestyle. And when I was working full time, I was on my feet all day long. I didn't need to go on walks, I was always doing stuff. But since I've retired, it's very easy to sit and watch YouTube all day, particularly if you're making YouTube videos. So what I do is 4 times a week I do, again it's a kind of interval training, I do press-ups. I don't rush them, I do them as perfectly as I can, holding my stomach muscles in, so it strengthens your stomach. And I do as many as I can until I can't do another one. Then I have a rest, about a minute, and then I do it again. And then I have a rest for about a minute, and I do it again. I do it 3 times, 4 days a week. And that, again, I think has a tremendous impact. It's something about taking yourself to the limit, having a break and take yourself to the limit again. I've definitely felt my arms are a lot stronger. They do say that you need to be able to just lift 10 kilograms to stop yourself from having a fall. When people can't lift 10 kilograms, they're at danger of smashing their faces in on the pavement if they trip over, which is a thing can happen to you when you're older. Related to that, I do obviously all the stretching exercises and balance on one foot when I'm cleaning my teeth, things like that. Always do stretches before I do any exercises. I should go without saying, but the press-ups are a good thing. I also do whatever else takes my fancy. Do a few weights, nothing too heavy, be 10, 15, 20 kilograms, that's all. Again, it's good for the heart, but the press-ups, I think, are the easiest thing to do, the cheapest thing to do. You do it anywhere, and the most effective for upper body strength. As I say, I'm quite a slender person, but I keep myself relatively strong. Again, if the bike starts going, you need to be able to hopefully pick it up. Legs and lifts, lifting things, lifting your legs, lifting weights. They don't have to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's just keeping your body strong is important as you get older. Once you lose that strength, it's very difficult to get it back. Trust me, I can assure you, I was very surprised how fast it goes and how long it takes to get it back. I couldn't do one single press up when my spine was fractured, not even at 45 degrees. So I could now do, on a good day, 60 in 3 batches of 20 or so. But I don't worry about the amount. It's doing it till your arms are almost to the point where you couldn't do another one. Then a break, repeat, then a break, repeat. That's it. A few weights in between. Again, 4 days a week. My next L, I was trying to think of an L, couldn't think of one, but I've come up with less. Should be fewer, but, you know, to be grammatically correct, but I'll say less. And basically that is, it doesn't matter who you are, you probably need less of something. Less alcohol, less cigarettes, less sugar. There'll be something. I'm not talking about going on a diet, I'm talking about an everyday thing. In my case, I've got a history of type 2 diabetes in my family, and I thought it wouldn't affect me. I didn't really take much notice when the doctors called me in and said I was at 44. I needed to get that down. It was only when I read up about it and realised that I was putting myself at risk of a heart attack or stroke that I decided to do something about it. And the interval walking's really helped with that, as has the interval weight training or lifts. But the other thing that I've done is I've cut out, again, this is, I'm hesitant to say it because I'm not trying to tell you what to do. It depends on what your needs are. My needs were that I needed to do this, so I had to get my blood sugars down. So I've cut out carbs for breakfast. I used to have porridge and things. I don't have that anymore. I have protein breakfast, eggs. For my dinner or lunch, depends where you are in the country, I call it dinner, other people call it lunch. Again, I've cut out all the carbs. I go for protein, steak. I will have tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, maybe another egg or two. I'll probably have one slice of is it GI bread, which is basically just high fibre bread, which is a low glycemic index apparently, if I have anything at all. So I usually have my last meal about 8 o'clock at night. Sometimes I have a bag of crisps or something before then, but I tend not to eat between 8 in the morning and 8 at night and say 8 in the morning. But my evening meal I kept the same. I'm not into this keto diet, is it? The idea that you can cut out carbs completely, I think that's a nonsense. I think we're herbivores, omnivores, carnivores, we're all divores, human beings. So rather than going to extremes, I've just kept my evening meal the same as it always was. So I just have potatoes or whatever, one meal a day. Because it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle thing. You know, life would be depressing. I'd never stick to it if I didn't. So I've cut down for 2 meals a day, almost entirely. Carbs have gone, and replaced that with protein, and my stomach disappeared. It was incredible. Alright, I'm doing the weights, the lifts. Alright, I'm doing the lifts, I'm doing the leg work, but the carb reduction and the protein enhancement, my stomach, not entirely, you know, I haven't got a six-pack, but the you like, beer belly, as we call them in Britain, gone. My paunch. And I put that down to the low carbs for breakfast and lunch. So, as I say, no carbs for breakfast, very few carbs for lunches, usually none, and just an ordinary evening meal. You need some carbs, no matter what these people... I've noticed all these keto people, they tell you all this stuff, and yeah, they look great and they stand around with their shirts off, but they're all about 20 years old. They don't need all that stuff. And they strangely always seem to have a book or a nutrient to sell. There's always something at the end of it that they want to sell. I'm not selling you anything, I'm just telling you what works for me. Lowering my carbs, however you do it, upping my protein. So my next L is, probably should be at the beginning. I ought to put this first, but it's L for listen. Two people to listen to, or two things to listen to. One is your great commander, which is your body. I've got a dodgy elbow and a dodgy hip, so on the days when I've got a flare up in my elbow, I don't do weight training on the elbow. I'm not here to wear my joints out. All my friends are in joint replacements. It seems to be a boom industry for private medicine funded through the NHS in Britain. And I've got a dodgy hip, so if my hips play me up, I'll do a light walk instead of the faster one. With my hip, tends to be the case that when I do walk, it frees up, so that tends not to be an issue, but my elbow does not, it just gets worse, and I don't want to grind it to pieces. So I listen to what my body says. And if I have to have a rest, it doesn't matter. I'm not working towards a goal. There's no teleology in this method, it's my lifestyle. It's forever. So if I have a week off, I'll get back to it when I can. If I'm ill, I will have a rest. If I feel like I've got a virus, I'll have a rest. I'm convinced I get fewer viruses and things by doing this anyway, but if you're ill, you're ill. Take a break. Be kind to your body. If it's telling you it can't do it, leave it alone. That's what I say to she who must be obeyed anyway. And the other thing is to listen to your doctor, obviously. Consult your doctor before you do any of these things. What triggered it for me was seeing my blood sugars being so high, and that has come right back down again, so I'm now back into the normal range. And that was a year ago, 6 months ago I was back into the normal range. I hope I'm still there. I'm hoping actually that because I've upped my game a little bit more, that I may have come down less, but I was heading towards type 2 diabetes, which is a thing that runs in my family. So listen to your doctor, listen to the test results, listen to your family. How did people die? What is the illnesses that run? Type 2 diabetes is in my family, so even though I thought I was at no risk from it whatsoever, being quite slim, how wrong I was.
Apropos of nothing, both Dr. J and I have noticed that our blood pressure is lower after a motorcycle ride. Then I noticed this exercise, which is for lowering the blood pressure. Does it remind you of anything? Anybody else notice this, or are we just alien DNA?
Last but not least is a test of your mortality. Can you lift yourself from the ground without using your hands at all? I can sometimes, but not very often. So, ta-da!
And the last L is lifestyle. This is not a diet, it's not goal orientated, it's not a training program, it's none of those things. It's just my lifestyle. I want to ride my motorbike. I want to keep fit enough to do it. I don't see an end to this, so as I say, if I'm not up to it, I'll have a break and then get back on it when I'm feeling like it. And I see it as a virtuous circle. I want to ride my bike, to ride my bike I need to keep fit, so I keep fit so I can ride my bike. Obviously nothing's perfect. Father Time catches up with all of us in the end, or Mort if you're into Discworld. I just think it's important as I've got older to take care of yourself, so that's what I'm doing. Just as I take care of Dante, hopefully he'll take care of me through these roadworks. Boring. So L for lecture over, Codger Biker is out, and I'm going to continue to the east coast. I'm going to see the German Ocean. That's the North Sea to you people.